Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us live today. I'm Sarah Janman, part of the Legacy team here at MAF, and it's a real privilege to be able to welcome you to our first ever virtual Legacy event. I hope that you found that opening clip as inspiring as I do. Isn't it amazing to see how MAF has grown from such humble beginnings nearly 80 years ago? Tonight, our journey begins in Uganda, where we'll explore the life-changing difference being made by the work of MAF, before also highlighting the incredible things happening in Timor-Leste and the Democratic Republic of Congo too. Can you imagine being the reason a plane takes off, soaring into the skies to deliver life-saving supplies, medical care and hope to those in the most remote places in the world? 1 in 5 of these vital flights is made thanks to gifts left in wills. And so this evening, we'll share with you how a legacy to MAF can transform communities, save lives, and spread the light of the gospel for years to come. If you have any questions about what is shared relating to MAF's work or about any of our will writing resources this evening, please feel free to pop these in the chat, and then at the end of the event, our team will do their best to answer them. If you have any questions of a more personal nature or you don't feel comfortable using the chat, that's absolutely fine. Please feel free to drop us an email using our Get in Touch slide later on. So thank you again for being here. I'm really excited about what we'll be sharing together today. We're now going to head to our spotlight on Uganda, where we will give you an insight into MAF's vital ministry there and some exciting plans for the future. So over to Ruth Jack, our country director in Uganda.
Hello and welcome to MAF Uganda. My name is Ruth Jack and I am the country director for MAF in Uganda. We are here on Kajansi Airfield, which is where we operate from. We are south of Kampala and north of Entebbe, and we have a wonderful team here, 50 plus size of team who work here and run the airfield and run MAF. In MAF Uganda, we largely serve the humanitarian sector, although we do work for the mission and gospel partners as well, who fly out to take the gospel to the unreached parts of Uganda. And we have missionaries who come from all over the world, including Ugandan missionaries, who take the gospel and Bible translations to people in Uganda who otherwise wouldn't receive it. But largely, our population, the people that we serve, are the humanitarian workers. And the reason for that is here in Uganda, we have the highest number of refugees in all of Africa, along the west of the country and the north of the country. Now on the west, because they're coming from DRC and the fighting in the DRC, and from the north, because they're coming from South Sudan, and now also, sadly, from Sudan. In fact, in recent months and this year, the number of refugees coming into Uganda is only going up. And with so many crises in all of the world, in Ukraine, in Gaza and many other places, Africa tends to be a little bit forgotten. Not everybody understands that or knows that, and the amount of money that is here to look after those refugees is going down, and the amount of refugees coming in is only going up. So we serve here in MAF Uganda, we serve the humanitarian workers that look after the people in those refugee settlements. So many of you will be familiar with organisations like Tear Fund and UNICEF and Save the Children. We fly all of those organisations and many, many more. And what we do is we ensure that they get to the refugee settlements to serve the population that is coming into Uganda. So one of the very largest refugee settlements in all of Uganda, and in fact in all of Africa, is called Bidi Bidi. And it's in the northwest of the country, where the country meets the DRC and South Sudan, up in the northwest. And in order to reach that refugee settlement, at the moment, many of the humanitarian workers need to fly in to a more southerly airport and then drive for an hour or more to get to Bidi Bidi. However, what we would like to do is put a brand new airstrip very close to Bidi Bidi in a town called Yumbi, so that we can take humanitarian workers straight into that space where the refugees are staying in one of the largest refugee settlements in the world. So here in Uganda, some of the most isolated people in the country live on the many islands in Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria, of course, is one of the largest lakes in all of Africa. In fact, when you're next to it, it feels like a small ocean. And on that lake, there are many small islands, and on those islands live many people. And their access to education and health and other things, including the gospel, is very limited. So here in MAF Uganda, what we would like to do is have a float plane, an amphibious plane that can go out to those islands and to serve the population on those islands. Now let me introduce you to Sam Baguma, who is going to explain a little bit more about how we're going to operate the float plane.
So we're here at Lingila Island, and this is a perfect opportunity for us to show exactly how this floatplane project would actually make such a difference to the people living on this island. We set off from Kajansi this morning, but if we had driven from Kampala to come to Jinja, it would have taken us at least 3 hours to get to Jinja, and then getting onto a boat that would bring us here another hour and a half to be able to get to this island. But in 18 minutes we were in Jinja, and if we had come here directly, it would have been exactly about 20 minutes for us to be able to reach this island. Speaking to the people on this island, they are telling us there is no transport between one island and another island. In order to be able to do anything within the islands, you have to go back on the mainland, find another boat that would actually bring you to the island that you want to go to. And so speaking to the pastor here, is actually saying that as a network of churches, he would love to be able to go to all these various islands. He's talking of 84 islands for which he is actually responsible for, and he has a network of churches that are actually planted in all these areas, and he's trying to reach out to all the pastors in these areas. He was telling us to come from Lingila Island, where we are at the moment, to go to Kalangala. It would actually take them 12 hours on the boat, and on a plane it would take us 10 minutes, 10-20 minutes we'll actually be there. And the pastor was telling us of some of the accidents that have actually happened because of the boats that actually capsized during bad weather. And all these things, the risks that people are having to take to be able to reach each other on these islands, all this could actually be eliminated by us providing a safe mode of transport that will reach all these areas. So actually, even speaking to the pastor today, he was telling us of an experience a few months ago when the boats that were so overcrowded because people have no other means of getting onto the mainland. So whatever little boat that is available, they will cram themselves in there. And in some of places where he's telling us that there are no schools, there are no health centers. In fact, on one of the islands, women are not even allowed to go to this island. So we're saying these are some of the things that we need to be able to change, because if we can be able to bring the good news that can break all these barriers and actually bring in essential services that can come to the islands by breaking the difficulty of being able to reach here. So our hope is that with the floatplane that we can be able to reach every single island on Lake Victoria. So it is our hope and prayer that once we have this plane, we can see true transformation of the people on these islands, first and foremost by the transformation of their minds and through the gospel, but also through the essential services that they truly need to be brought to these islands. So I'm very excited to see that we are really moving forward to get this project going.
So now let me introduce you to a long-term friend of MAF Uganda. Sam Sapwe is a local missionary and pastor, and he runs an organisation called Jesus Film Ministries. Now that sounds like he just plays the Jesus film, but if we said that that's all that he does, that would be really limiting his ministry. He takes health and education to people, he brings pastoral care to people, he brings Bibles to people. Sam Sapwe has a very unique ministry, and one of the places that he likes to go is to the islands on Lake Victoria. So guess what? He's going to be using our float plane. Let me introduce you to Sam Sapwe now.
My name is Sam Tsapwe, and I have a call on my life to share the gospel with other people, especially those who are disadvantaged and live in places where they may not be easily accessible. And I take the gospel to these people and share about the love of Jesus. I got the blessing of working with Mission Aviation Fellowship because I was inspired to take care of the people who live in the background, those that are easily forgotten. And so I thank the Lord so much that the inspiration from Mission Aviation Fellowship helped me to do what I'm doing today. Jesus Film Ministries it takes the gospel of the kingdom of God mainly to rural communities, isolated places, and those that are down really deep in the remote places. We take this gospel through gospel films and through preaching, open air preaching, and through church conferences. We get those little churches to gather together and encourage one another and build teams such that the teams will encourage one another in their work of spreading the kingdom of God. And because we go to the rural places, some of them are really not reachable. They are not easily reachable. Now the interesting thing is Mission Aviation Fellowship flies to these places, and the road may be very hard to use and sometimes insecure. It's 18 minutes by flight, by air, and it is 8 hours or anything like that on water. And so MAF makes it very easy for me to get to this place, to these places. The float plane is going to open up the islands for the kingdom of God. And it takes so long and it's expensive to get to an island. And also because you don't move from island to island, then it becomes hard to cover the islands with the gospel. When we have the float plane will get you right to the island, and you can share the gospel and go to another island and go to another island easily. Ask anybody on the islands and they will tell you what problems are you having, what's the main problem? Transport. The float plane will be an answer to the biggest question on the islands here.
And now let me introduce you to Wim Hobo. Wim is our chief pilot, and he has been fortunate enough to do some of the flights to a hospital called Cure Hospital in a place called Mbale. Now, Cure Hospital is a very, very special place, and these are very, very special flights because we are taking very sick children to get operations at Cure Hospital in Mbale, the kind of operations that they would never get otherwise. Let me introduce you to Wim, who will explain all about his experience flying these patients to Cure Hospital.
Well, my name is Wim Hobo. I'm one of the MEF Uganda pilots, and I'm one of the pilots who have flown some flights for Cure Hospital from South Sudan to Mbale recently. I flew empty to Juba, South Sudan. Yeah, when I landed, the mothers and kids were brought to my aircraft. What I noticed was the children, of course, with the big heads, and they have a condition what is called hydrocephalus. That means that moisture is building up in the head, and if they don't get the right treatment, they will definitely die. Knowing the healthcare system in South Sudan, there is no option for them to get right treatment in Juba, so that's why we transport them to Mbale. Because there are so many kids having those conditions, MEF has started a partnership with Cure Hospital. So almost on a monthly basis currently we fly children with those conditions from Juba to Uganda to make sure they get the help they need. So they provide about 2,000 surgeries per year in that hospital, and they're specialized in hydrocephalus, spina bifida, tumors in the brain, and yeah, they have very good specialized healthcare there. Yeah, on a quite regular basis we now fly those kids with their mums to Tororo to make sure they get the treatment they need. Now Tororo is the nearest airstrip at the moment. It still takes them about, I think, 1.5 to 2.5 hours drive from there up to the hospital. So at the moment we are also working on developing an airstrip very close to the hospital in Mbale. It's quite a big project, but as MAF Uganda team we are working on that to develop an airstrip so we can fly them straight to the hospital and save them a trip by road as well. The mothers often have never been in an aircraft, so they arrive quite nervous with their kids. We help them to get on board. Usually we have someone to translate for us because they don't speak English, most of them. And I still want to explain a bit about the flight, of course, what they can expect and what they should take care of, what they should think about. So we fly them to Tororo, that's the nearest airstrip at the moment. The CURE staff was already waiting for them, including the director of the hospital, and was welcoming them. Really good, very dedicated team, and I'm quite impressed by the work they are doing. They are not only taking care of the physical conditions of the kids and the mothers, but they also are dedicated Christians, so they also bring them the gospel and give them more than only just an operation or a surgery. As MAF we talk about bringing help, hope and healing, and I also see that they do basically the same in a different way. They are specialized in a different area, but they basically do the same, and that's very encouraging for us to see as well. And together we can make this all happen. They are specialized in healthcare in this very specific, these specific conditions. Without the kids, they can't help them, without the kids getting there. And we can't help the kids without their expertise, but together we can really make a big difference for those kids. Basically we save their lives, because without treatment they won't survive. As a pilot, these type of flights are very fulfilling for me. I see that we make a big difference, that we save lives, literally, and I know that these kids without proper treatment won't be able to survive. They'll just die if we don't fly them to places like Mbale. So I'm happy that I personally, but also as MAF as a team, that we can make that difference.
How wonderful was it to see and hear from Uganda there? I'm sure that you will all agree that the new float plane will definitely make a huge difference to the lives of those living on the islands of Lake Victoria. We're now going to hear from Miriam Wheeler, MAF's Legacy Manager.
Good evening, everyone. Let's take a moment to talk about something that is deeply personal and yet incredibly impactful: writing a will. We understand that family comes first, and making these important decisions provides peace of mind and protection for your loved ones. But it's also a unique opportunity to leave a lasting legacy, extending your support to the causes you're passionate about. For decades, MAF has depended on gifts in wills to ensure its planes continue to bring help, hope and healing to those in urgent need. To help with this process, we've created a free will guide, Never Forgotten. This guide provides helpful information on how to write or update your will. It also highlights how gifts in wills enable MAF to continue its vital work, bringing hope, medical care and the gospel to those in the most remote places on earth. To request a copy, please visit our Legacy webpage and simply fill out the form, and we'll be happy to send you one in the post. MAF is partnering with 2 trusted organisations to help make the will writing process even easier. Both services are free, and while there's no obligation to leave a gift to MAF, we'd be extremely grateful if you'd consider doing so once you ensure those closest to you have been provided for. You can choose the service which suits you best. One option is to write your will online using the service provided by Bequeathed. To do this, please visit our website and you can click the link to start this process straight away. There are just 4 simple steps to follow. The other option is to find a local solicitor through the National Free Wills Network.
On our website, you can fill in the form and we'll pass your details on. They'll then send you a pack with a list of 6 participating local solicitors. You can choose one and contact them directly to book an appointment at a time that's convenient for you. So, if you're interested in receiving our free will guide, Never Forgotten, or would like more details about either of these free will services, please do get in touch or visit our website. We'd now like to share this clip with you, highlighting the difference gifts in wills can make and hearing from a few of our supporters. Thank you.
Where we're going is Soaring, which is right at the bottom of the southeast corner of the island. Just down here, about 48 nautical miles or half an hour flight. It's a little baby that we're going to bring back. We're the only ones that can do aeromedical transport in Dili, so if we don't do it, there is nobody else. Ever since the program started here, Timor's had a MOU, which is an agreement with the Ministry of Health. And so we do most of their medical evacuations plus any transfers that they need, to the extent that it's grown year by year, and now it's almost about 1 a day that we do on average. Where we're going to now in Soaring, we did the trip a few weeks ago and it took us about 5 hours on the road. Most of the road was okay until about the last 2 hours. Then it was quite bumpy and uncomfortable, and we can't imagine what it would be like for patients to have to endure that in the back of an ambulance.
Very bad road in Timor-Leste, especially if you just come from district to Dili, just by road, it's very difficult for them. You can die in your way to Dili.
My name is Chris Tanton and I live in Ruckinge in Ashford, Kent.
Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Wendy.
My name's Hilary. We currently live in Eastbourne.
Hi, I'm Russell.
I'm Elizabeth. I first found out about MAF while I was at university, and my complete passion for Tom Cruise in Top Gun merged with the idea of planes being involved in God's work. And I thought that could be a charity that I would want to know more about.
There are many charities that we could divide our money between, but I do feel that with MAF it is such a dedicated charity, and I just know that it's a superb place to leave our money.
Although I'm not a hugely wealthy man, so the amount of money that I can leave to MAF isn't going to buy a plane, but if it keeps the plane in the air for a few days or a few weeks, that would be wonderful, because even one extra day in the air for a MAF plane could save somebody's life.
I find that MAF enables a lot of other mission work to take place, and to me that is so important. So if I support MAF, then I'm supporting all these other missionary organisations as well.
We really love hearing from supporters who have so generously chosen to leave a gift to MAF in their will. And as part of the Legacy team, I'm aware that some of you with us today have already chosen to do so. And so for that, I just want to say a huge thank you to you. I would now love to share with you a project from the Democratic Republic of Congo that really inspires me with how it's reaching the next generation with God's love.
When I look across Congo, I see the children. Almost 50% of the population is under the age of 14. There's very little that's more important than reaching the next generation Kennedy is a missionary with Kids Action Network. He's going into churches that have never had a Sunday school program and trying to encourage the leadership to invest in the kids.
Children are not valued in the Congolese culture. When I first began mentoring the children, teaching them, something was telling me, you have to stay. It's your calling.
He's really pouring into these teachers in the hope of reaching the next generation of Congolese children. And that's really where his heart is. It's with the kids. The Democratic Republic of Congo has had a very tumultuous history. It is a country that benefited from a very large missionary presence, but because of wars and political instability, a lot of those missionaries left. Sound doctrine slowly eroded away. Children's ministries eroded away. That's a whole generation of kids that have not grown up in the church, that are not being raised up in a way that reflects the love of Christ in their lives. This is what Kennedy is trying to change.
One of the reasons that children in Congo don't receive the gospel is because pastors can't reach those remote villages. In Ayuki, where we are, if we consider the easiest and only way to get here is to take a canoe from Kinshasa to here, Nayuki. And we would take a motorized canoe to get here. It would take us 7 days. And to get to Jolu, it can take a whole month to get there. But with MAF, it only takes us 4 hours to get to Jolu.
When I see thousands of people coming out of the woodworks, I get a tremendous sense of how important it is for this airplane to be here. The fact that the airplane is there means they have access to the gospel.
It's only because of this aircraft there are some places I've landed that I never imagined I could get to, never. We get stories from the kids' testimonies of how they changed, and the parents as well.
My child attended Sunday school and brought me to church. It was like my heart became alive.
I am here to testify that through my children and prayer, my wife and I have been baptized and changed forever. Parents are seeing change in their homes. Children are well mannered.
What makes me happy is when I board on an MAF plane, I know I'm going to meet people who have never heard the word of God.
This is a very critical moment in Congolese history. In Kinshasa, we are experiencing a period of relative peace, but there is war in the country, and we don't know how long we'll have this open door. That means we can think strategically about how we're getting the gospel into the interior. Why would we not pour everything we have into reaching the next generation?
Through the pilots, everyone who supports the work, the sponsors, they have transformed so many lives. Cannot do what I'm doing today without MAF. Without MAF, it's impossible. I can't do it. It cannot work.
I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. It certainly leaves me feeling really inspired every time I see it. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I really hope that you have been inspired by all that's been shared. Everything you've seen today is made possible thanks to your partnership with us. We're so grateful for all of your prayers, support and donations which enable the work of MAF to continue, reaching men, women and children with God's love across the world. We're now going to head into our live Q&A session where our team will be answering questions from the chat. So to answer our questions, let's welcome back Miriam Wheeler, MAF's Legacy Manager, and introduce Ali Chambers, who is our Head of Fundraising and Partnerships.
It's lovely to be here.
Okay, so we'll have a look at some of the questions that have come in. So Simon D has asked, how long will it take for the float plane to be ready and in service? Ali?
Yeah, I can answer that, Simon. So thanks for that question. The plane's actually in South America at the moment. It will be flown up to Whip Air, which is an aviation engineering facility in Minnesota. There it will be modified for flights into Uganda. The seats will be taken out, new seating configuration, which is special for MAF, will be put in. The exterior paintwork will be done, and then it will be flown down into Uganda, into the programme. All of that will take quite a long time, so I wouldn't expect the plane to be in service much before the middle or perhaps the later part of next year.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Andrew has asked, how much is the float plane to buy? We know the cost.
They're not cheap, I can tell you that. This is a second hand. We're not buying this from new, and it's $3 million.
Okay.
So that is the cost of the going cost of a second hand plane.
Thank you. And then I think we had another question about the float plane as well. So Douglas has asked, is the float plane the one that was last seen in Bangladesh?
Yeah, I saw that, Douglas, and I think you actually saw it, so that's amazing. So I hope you really enjoyed seeing that plane. No, it's not actually. I was to say, this one that's going to Uganda is currently in South America. The float plane that you saw in Bangladesh is now serving in PNG, in the Gulf region to the south of the country. So it's been refurbished again and is now serving in PNG.
Well, that's good, definitely good to know. Thank you, Ali. And then I think we had one or two questions for Miriam about gifts in wills. So Rich has asked, if we have left a gift to MAF in our will, do we need to tell you? Do we need to let you know?
You don't have to, but if you've already left a gift to MAF in your will, then thank you so much. Each and every legacy is a huge blessing to MAF. And if you've already done so, please do contact our legacy team, and we would love to thank you for your partnership. We'd also love to hear what's inspired you to support us in this special way, and these stories are a great encouragement to us.
Definitely. Thank you, Miriam. And then Suzanne has asked about the National Free Wills Network, Miriam. So she says, please could you tell me a little more about National Free Wills Network? I'm wondering if a solicitor can visit me at home.
Yes, so the National Free Wills Network we've joined quite recently, and if you sign up with that, you'll be sent a list of 6 participating solicitors, and altogether they have over 900 solicitors across the UK. So on average, there'll be one within 3.5 miles from where you live. And within the pack that you get sent of the 6 solicitors, it will make it clear if any of those are able to do home visits. And for those that are, there may be a small extra charge for that service, but you would be able to contact them and find out more about that.
Brilliant, thank you, Miriam. And then we've got another question. I think this one's just come in from Benedict Buston, who says, since I'm a young person who would love one day to serve with MAF, how do you bring young people to serve or volunteer? Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
I can take that.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Ali.
So we're running 2 schemes at the moment, a pilot training program and an engineering training program as well. So not everybody is pilot. We also have a youth program as well. And they are very much around engaging with young people and really encouraging them to fundraise for us, but also with the aim to that they then can go on to serve with MAF. So there's a contact page that will come up at the end of this presentation. So you'll see the email address there. Do get in touch and we can put you in touch with our youth program and then we can take that forward. So yes, brilliant. Best of luck.
Fantastic. Okay. I think that is most of our questions. If you have any other questions, please pop them into the chat and we will get back to them definitely later on. Thank you, Miriam and Ali, for answering the questions so well. It was brilliant. And like I said, the chat will remain open for 10 minutes at the end of the live stream. So pop any questions in there, or if you had any, like I said earlier, more personal ones, then please send us an email and the contact details will be on the screen at the end of the event. We really hope that you've enjoyed your time with us. We'll share the recording of the events shortly with you via email along with a feedback survey. And we'd really, really appreciate if you could spare just 5 minutes of your time to fill that in for us. Any help is greatly appreciated. And I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this evening. So thank you once again for joining us, and please enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.